I'm Professor Keith Martin from Royal Holloway, University of London, and along with my colleagues Jassim Happa, Konstantinos Mersinas, and former colleague Guido Schmitz, we are the authors of Cybersecurity Foundations, Fundamentals, Technology and Society. What I thought I'd do is set out a little bit about our vision for this book, how the book came about, and then talk a little bit about how we imagine people might wish to engage with this book. But first, a little bit of background. So, as I said, we're from Royal Holloway, University of London. And Royal Holloway was a very innovative university because in 1992, it launched a postgraduate master's in what was then called information security, what we would now refer to as cybersecurity. And think about this, in 1992, this was a visionary thing to do because this subject did not really exist in universities at the time. We believe we were the first university worldwide to be teaching a program in this topic. Since 1992, of course, cybersecurity has become an absolutely fundamental thing on which everybody's lives depend. And in fact, many people in the street have heard of a concept in today, which would not be imaginable, if you like, back in 1992. It's become very mainstream. So the Masters in Information Security at Royal Holloway has been running for over 30 years, very successfully. But back in 2022, we launched a new online version of our program, a sort of partner program in cybersecurity, not information security. And we launched that with the University of London worldwide, and it's run on the Coursera platform. And as part of putting that program together, we had to do a little bit of a rethink, if you like, of what now that it's 30 years since the launch of the Masters in Information Security, how might we restructure and reorganize cybersecurity as a topic and offer it as an online postgraduate program. So we did a rethink, and as part of that process, we were heavily influenced by the CyBOK project, the Cybersecurity Body of Knowledge project in the UK, which has been a community initiative to put together sort of core knowledge that we imagine cybersecurity professionals should know about. So obviously we don't completely mirror the CyBOK program, but we use CyBOK as an influence in the design of that program. And on the back of all of that, we wondered whether we could actually, as a benefit from this rethink, produce a textbook which covered part of our thinking about this rather contemporary look at what cybersecurity might be. And so that's what Cybersecurity Foundations is, or that's how it came around. Now, in terms of what the book is going to cover, it very much looks at cybersecurity in a holistic way. So, as I said, informed by CyBOK. So it begins with sort of core fundamentals and core ideas and principles, and then looks at the controls right at the heart of cybersecurity, particularly cryptographic controls that really lie right in the middle of the machine, if you like. Then moves out into a technology layer where we actually look at the technologies that deploy these concepts, and then ultimately we move into the human layer, the organizational layer, the aspects of cybersecurity which deal with people. So it's really looking at the techniques that apply directly to data, then looking at the technologies that implement them, and then looking at the people side of cybersecurity. And the book is very much flowing in that direction, from data through to people. Now, if we were going to write a comprehensive book about all of that, it's going to be incredibly thick, probably unmanageably so, and that is absolutely not what Cybersecurity Foundations is about. In fact, we're really looking at 10,000 word chapters on each of the core topics as we go through. So this is very much a snapshot, and we did not imagine for a second, for example, that this book will be the absolute textbook which will underpin students embarking on a postgraduate program or undergraduate program in cybersecurity. It's just not going to go into that level of detail. The idea here is to do a quick pass through all these different subjects, a sort of overview of all those different subjects, and particularly to show how they interrelate. So we had in mind, for example, that students embarking on our own program in cybersecurity might read this book at the start to give them an idea of what's coming up, but also how the various topics they're going to they're going to consider relate. Because often when you're studying on a program, you immerse yourself in one topic and then immerse yourself in another topic and then immerse yourself in another topic. And it's not always quite so clear how these different topics relate to one another. And we felt very much that we wanted to write a book where someone could read the whole thing fairly readily and get a big picture vision of what was coming up, and then could go back through all these things in detail. So you can see that one of the imagined readers we had for this is either an instructor or more likely a student who is on a cybersecurity program, and this is providing a sort of a kind of connecting, holistic look at the topic. But obviously this book will not be enough. It will not provide enough detail for such a student, but we think it would still be a very interesting and informative read. On the other hand, there are programs which perhaps are about other things, like more broadly computer science or information studies or management perhaps, and may have a dedicated module. So they're just going to consider cybersecurity as a single topic on a single module. And in that case, this book might well provide quite a nice supporting text, because we're going to go through all the relevant topics, at least the relevant topics that we think are important, at a level which would probably match a single module covering everything. So that's another potential audience, would be people doing a dedicated cybersecurity module on a bigger program. And of course, ultimately, whether that's the case or someone studying a postgraduate or undergraduate cybersecurity program, we've sort of imagined that our readers are either already in or at least seriously considering a career in cybersecurity. So that it's very much written as a sort of either with a cybersecurity professional in mind. So that's the kind of destination, if you like, that we imagine readers of this book would be traveling. They're wanting to know enough about the whole picture that they could embark on a career somewhere within that cybersecurity space. So that's who we imagine might enjoy reading this, but obviously a cybersecurity professional not studying a program may also find this very interesting, because obviously that's precisely the kind of student we imagine reading had they been on a program. Right, so that's the vision, that's the contents, and I think I'll leave you really with sort of 5 core concepts that we had in mind when we wrote this book. First, it's big picture. So we really intended to make sure this presents the big picture, not the details. It's the big picture. Also, within each of these chapters, because it's a relatively short visit, we're really going to look at core principles, core ideas and core principles. So getting to the sort of the meat of the subject as quickly as possible. We're CyBOK informed, so the book is very much informed by the Cybersecurity Body of Knowledge project, and it attempts to represent that. So it's that's also representative of this sort of big picture vision. We imagined either budding or existing cybersecurity professionals being the readers. And crucially, we wanted to make all of this accessible. And remember that we said this, we imagined this might be a book someone would read at the start or as they embark on a cybersecurity program, or it may be somebody wanting to get a quick overview of the subject. And so accessibility is key. So we very much hope that the contents of this book are very accessible, even to someone who has very little current cybersecurity knowledge. So that was our vision. We very much hope the book is of interest and that you get some value from it, and do not hesitate on any aspect of the book to get in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you.